Hey, hey, welcome back, guys. All right, so I decided for the fact that I'm more inspired right now by mythology tales for this week, I want to go ahead and delve into a little bit of that even on these signs and symbols videos. So I did a pre-shuffle and we got the card of justice, which is associated with the goddess Themis. And Themis was in Greek mythology, she was the goddess that was one of the original 12 titans, so the old gods. She was daughter of Uranus and Gaia. And she actually was, even though, as one of the titans, and of course the Olympians overthrew the titans, Zeus and his siblings overthrew their parents, still she was considered to be, although one of the titans, Zeus highly prized her advice. She was associated with justice, fairness, law, and order. She was also, not only did she advise Zeus on many things, she, for a period of time, was also the oracle at Delphi. And so she's just somebody who has, an energy of like prophecy, but also fairness, the karmic justice of the universe. So she embodies all of that. So we start this out for our storyline, right? So obviously, we may have, by the way, swords and scales can be related. And I'm literally picturing in my mind right now somebody who's like weighing something, at like a grocery store scale to see, how many pounds of, apples I'm getting. Although I'm actually picturing nuts, somebody weighing nuts, cashews or walnuts specifically. And now I just thought pistachios as well. Don't ask me why. Not pecans. I have no idea why, but it's definitely not pecans. So we shall see where this storyline takes us. But we begin with something is unfair, unjust. It also says make sure that you're paying attention, or like when you go to pay, if you're buying something out of bulk and you weight it, make sure that you put the right, code number on. Otherwise you're paying, for 3 pounds of whatever nuts, maybe you're paying for like really expensive chocolates or something, if you didn't write down the correct code. So pay attention when you ring up at the grocery store. It's not that somebody's trying to cheat, it just could be an accidental boo-boo, but it just says, double check things, keep it fair and square. Now, I don't think that has really anything to do with this. That's just weird side notes that come up with these messages sometimes. We have a Six of Cups. Okay. Again, we talk about fairness. It's for me, if Justice card shows up at all, it's because something has been unfair. Now we have another card of balance. The Six of Cups should be, soulmates who engage together. They each have something to give, they each have something to share with each other. And if there is this feeling of, I want to go back because I owe my soulmate something, I didn't treat them as well as I should have, could have, I didn't interact with them the way I should have, could have. We got a Queen of Cups. There is great love here. Or we have a feminine, possibly a water sign, who gave a huge amount of love. We may have a feminine who has gorgeous dark hair. Oh my gosh, so beautiful. She could have a headband on, a hairband of sorts. She could also either have like a draped shirt or like a, something that has like a raglan sleeve to it, some kind of like a blouse. It definitely feels like she's wearing a blouse. Feels like somebody who would be dressed kind of like business casual or something, like, maybe works in an office or something along those lines. But I definitely feel like she gave the best of what she had. Now, to go back and say, she may have given the best of what she had to offer, but how come she didn't receive what she should have in return for it with that Justice card? That's where the big question really is. How come I didn't get what I should have? We have High Priestess. Here's the thing. It's very obvious. I think everybody knows. She knows she didn't get something equitable for the amount of love she offered to a soulmate. And a soulmate knows that they didn't give what was equitable. And I do feel like there is some energy here of, and talk about like Oracle of Delphi. We started out, with the goddess Themis, and she was the Oracle of Delphi in Greek mythology for a period of time. The High Priestess is very much Oracle of Delphi, but we have a decidedly, with the black roses across her hair and the red roses here, it really feels like this, funerary image on this card, and it just feels like this has the relationship was ruined or something was buried a long time ago, the subconscious, the things that we press down but are still very much within our memory bank and within, our soul. I feel like somebody has felt pretty crappy for a long time. Maybe they tried to bury it, but you can't bury like guilt, or you can't bury what your subconscious knows. You can't bury the fact that she knows she didn't get treated fair and somebody else knows that they didn't treat her fair. In this soulmate equation, it should have been fair and square. And instead, I think she gave everything she had and didn't get anything back in return. And whomever this is who knows that, let's try to ask, who is the person who is aware I didn't give fairly? 6 of Swords. Gosh. This is, by the way, I will mention that this is Eos, which is like the dawn. So it's dawning on someone. The 6 of Swords, it may be that they're trying so hard to move on from this and they're discovering that they can't. It could be somebody whose life is getting smoothed out, but what they're realizing is the one person that I owe a huge apology to. Look, I don't know, maybe this is somebody whose life got really busy, really chaotic, and they didn't treat a soulmate well because they were too busy dealing with their own, drama. But I mean, not like that's an excuse to, harm or break the hearts of our soulmates, but I'm just saying it may have been the reason for that. But it's dawning on them as their life gets calmer just how badly they treated her. And I think for a while they were able to blindfold themselves and act like I didn't do her that dirty. I mean, I know she was really loving and maybe I didn't reciprocate anything, but I sure took what she had to offer. But I didn't think of it as being as bad as it really was. And now I know how bad it really was. Okay, so we have the 9 of Swords. Talk about depiction of absolute angst, right? Very stressful, very, somebody feels absolutely horrendous about their behavior of the past. Now that their life is calming down. We've got the Hermit, but I feel like we're on the cusp of some kind of big communication because whomever this is, and they've shown up as both a masculine and a feminine. They've shown up as, the dawn. It's dawning on them. They've shown up on, as somebody who's very stressed out. But I also feel like they're on the cusp of trying to figure out, how do I even begin to say I'm sorry for this? Let me just ask, what is it that you believe you did? This person looks like, quite a youthful individual here. They may come across as young looking or maybe immature. They may be old, but they may behave in an immature way. That could be the case. And somebody could have like goat or deer antlers or skulls with, horns. That would be him in this. So the Temperance card, I'm like, what do you believe you did wrong? And it's like, I should have been balanced. Again, Temperance, I should have been fair. Okay, so you believe that fairness is what was lacking here. We have got the 9 of Wands. Yes, 9 of Wands sideways. I was wounded. I was a wounded warrior, but I didn't even bother to consider that maybe she was a wounded warrior too, but was still willing to be kind. I didn't consider maybe her needs. I didn't consider what the Queen of Cups might have been sacrificing to make sure that she treated me well. I never considered that she may have her own needs or her own hurts or her own wounds that she was simultaneously trying to heal as well. I was only thinking about my own. We have got the Fool sideways. I feel like this person's like, I was such a stinking fool. I don't know why I didn't, I could have, if I had cared maybe about what she was going through and had seen her as a human with her own life story. I'm almost wondering if this person, because I get this vibe that somebody was so juvenile, we keep seeing them as really youthful looking. And I'm wondering if they looked at her as like a grown up and they were like a kid. So I don't have to think about you. The same way, like 3-year-olds don't think about whether, mommy and daddy are exhausted after work or if they have a headache. 3-year-olds are like, I want my sandwich and I don't want the crusts on it and I want to watch the show and I want to go to the park. they live in a world where they're the center of the universe, and they know they are because mommy and daddy pay attention to them and make sure their needs are met because they can't do it themselves. But they don't think yet, because it hasn't even crossed their little mind, that mommy and daddy have needs too. And I'm getting that vibe off of this person. I didn't even think about what they maybe needed, about what their life story had been, about their hurts, their pains. I didn't even think about what they maybe have gone through. Didn't cross my mind. And I feel like a fool now because it was so immature. And the fool is the baby of the deck. Let's not forget that. I feel like this person was a combination of like, I have my wounds. Mine are the only thing that matter. I like the way somebody treats me. So that's great. I'm going to gobble this up. And there's also like a lusty energy because it's actually Pan. And Pan is also where we get the word panic. Is from the Greek mythology stories of Pan. So I do feel like this person maybe has a low capacity for dealing with stressful things. They might panic, but they're allowed to do that. But somebody else, they would never consider, they thought she was mature. She can handle everything. Didn't even cross their mind that she might have had needs or was trying to give them love because in their mind, they were the center of the universe. Their needs, their lusty needs, their fun needs, their, if anything in their life got stressful, then they can just ignore everybody else. It feels like they never thought about another person's needs except their own and what they were freaking out about or what they wanted. And I definitely feel like, I'm not saying that this person didn't have good traits, but we definitely see them as selfish as like a 3-year-old. And 3-year-olds are not mean people, right? They're just too little yet to understand that there's a bigger world outside of them. That's why we start teaching children how to share. We teach them, these are things you don't do to other people because you wouldn't want them done to you. We teach them why certain things are not okay. We have to show them, some things so they understand they're not the only thing in the universe. Everything does not always revolve around them. And if we fail to show kids that, we make monsters, right? We have selfish, imperious, little monsters, and then we set them up to fail in life because nobody wants to be around them. So that's why it's so important. But I'm wondering if this person maybe was treated like maybe the prince or princess, and that attitude carried forth into a relationship. And when they had some conflicts or problems in their own life, they give themselves permission to just feel however they feel. They don't think about another person. They don't think about how much love they were getting from somebody. They didn't think about it this being a relationship where it was supposed to be shared. And even if this is a soulmate energy, say they're past life soulmates, we have a young soul and an old soul for sure in this story, is how it comes across to me. So with that in mind, I don't know if this person might have like amazing skin, by the way, or maybe they really care about their appearance. That could also be a part of them being very youthful. If you've ever been in real stuff in life, at some point you can care less what you look like. You don't have time to deal with other things when you've got, all kinds of like real life drama happening. It's not about, ooh, am I looking my best? Sometimes you just jump on in and you deal with what's going on in life, or you jump in and you help other people. You couldn't care less. You see people all the time in, like news clips and stuff where there's some, dramatic, natural disaster or event that occurs. And you just see people, they could care less anymore if they're in underpants or less, and they're just going out there trying to help each other. And it's like, there are things in life where what you look like doesn't matter anymore. What matters is what's real in life. But I kind of think that this person they've always been able to, again, have more consideration for themselves and even superficial things. And if something went wrong for them, it was like the end of the world. But it's like they did not have the capacity to comprehend that was really selfish. Because remember, the basis of all of this is I did wrong. This is not somebody who was like, ooh, I'm going to intentionally use someone. I'm going to use this Queen of Cups. It doesn't look like that. They didn't do that with intention. They almost did it as a matter of, well, this is how the world works. People give to me and people give to me. Like that seems to be what the storyline is here. So this is somebody having that, again, Eos was here. So we know they have it dawning on them. And we see them really stressed out about their past behavior. And we see them doing some deep thinking about their past behavior. I don't know what has maybe triggered them to realize that the universe does not revolve around them, but somehow, some way, there is a karmic justice coming in. Can I just see anything about the karmic justice? Because I'm wondering if the universe is like giving them a good solid shake up right now. 10 of Pentacles. Hang on. Somebody could have like we have like that horn of plenty, that cornucopia. And I'm thinking somebody's name is like Cordelia or starts with a C, even like Cassie or, oh God. There's a Spanish name. I guess I'll say Cora for short, but there's another name that's trying to come into my head and it's not there. Knight of Cups. There's this energy. They may be having a lot of dreams about her right now. Again, they look really youthful, very perfect, very attractive. But I'm wondering if they are comparing all of a sudden the life that they could have had with her and how abundant she truly was and how much love she gave as that Queen of Cups. And they're starting to either recognize that that was maybe one of the brightest spots in their life. I mean, they're starting to feel emotions. I feel like they're starting to miss her. They're having emotions for somebody that they're like, wow, she was amazing. She was absolutely amazing. I don't know if the last time they saw her was around like pumpkin time, gourd time, like October, November, but in that Horn of Plenty, we definitely see some of that. Judgment card. Okay, so there is some karmic justice and judgment coming in for them. And it's weird because it all seems to be in the emotional realm, just like how we had the like that subconscious energy of the High Priestess. It feels like they're really sensing what they missed out on, who they could have been with, what their life could have been. If they are dreaming of her and there's some energy of them where, I don't know if their life has settled down now and now they're able to think about other people, but all of this just keeps coming across like they're finally aware. They're finally aware. Yikes, I missed out on somebody wonderful. I just don't know. Would they be any different now? I mean, we can see that they're going through like some karmic justice now because the one they want is not the one they're with, is not the person that they're in a life with at this point. We have a 5 of Pentacles. By the way, somebody could have got cupping done, or they have an interesting tattoo pattern, or maybe some mosquito bites, by the way. But this 5 of Pentacles, it's like they're at a point, and I do think that this person still comes across as seeming very immature, but they are recognizing now that their life is a little smoother that what they don't have is her, and they're starting to actually really truly miss what could have been. I just feel like something in their life has become more clear to them. Maybe because we see that mild growth in them, the fact that they've become at least a knight. I still don't know that I would say that they're missing her for non-selfish reasons, but we can definitely see that they are very stressed out and they're very much aware of the person that they were before and what it cost them. They don't have her in their life because at one point in time, what she offered just wasn't, they took what they wanted and then they didn't ever think anymore about her. They just moved on when their life got stressful. I feel like they could have ghosted. They could have just stopped talking to her. It just didn't matter. The only thing that mattered was their life, their problem, and maybe they even turned to somebody else to fix their problems and they just kind of disappeared out of her life all of a sudden. But that's not what the arrangement was between them and her. Like the arrangement was they were possibly like soulmates or in a romantic connection, but they just kind of bounced, picturing somebody who had like mom and dad go solve their problems and then they just kind of disappeared out of her life. Look, they're going through karma. That's what this message is, but they're having some kind of a slow awakening. All right. Thanks for being here. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribe.